Welcome to Relationship, where real-life couple Justin and Candise share their keeping it real perspective on the ins and outs of their personal and professional experiences, navigating the ups and downs of partnerships in life and business. They will also offer practical advice for maintaining strong, healthy, fun, and successful relationships in life and business. If you're ready for comedic and insightful exploration of life, love, law, business, and everything else in between, you're in the right place. Buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. Here are your hosts, Justin and Candise.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Relationship, where we delve deep into the intricate dance between relationships and the world of business. Today, we have a different take on the show with a couplepreneur gone wrong. This couple embarked on a journey that many dream of, but few dare to take. With a unique blend of skills, she a talented decorator and he a savvy investor, they took on the challenging world of house flipping. Welcome to the show, Eric and Evelyn. Nice to have you guys.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so normally I start the podcast by asking my partners, whether in life, business, or both, to kind of go back in time and start us in the beginning of how y'all met. But based upon Justin's introduction, there was a word or a couple of words that kind of jumped out at me. So I kind of want to start there because I'm like, whoa, I kind of love this. Okay. So when I see the word couplepreneurs gone wrong, what is that? Or what does that mean? So let's start there.
Well, maybe you can start.
All right. Yes. So basically, we started flipping houses, or I started flipping houses, and Evelyn has good
taste.
You can tell who she married, right? So she has good taste, and we thought that this would be a great business to do together, right? I'd be doing the houses in the sense of finding the deals, finding the money, getting the contractors, and she would be dealing directly with the contractors. But it went wrong. It went wrong in many ways. We'll elaborate, but just the fact that we have very different personalities and the way she would ask me stuff that I would feel questioned would make me build a wall and create a separation that eventually led to a very difficult time in our marriage.
Yeah.
Are you still doing it together? What you set out to do? Okay, so that's where it went wrong. Like it actually just ended.
Yeah.
So I still do some houses, and Evelyn does interior decorating, but we don't do them together.
Not together anymore.
You know what? I love and I appreciate and thank you so much for being so candid because, let me just tell the audience who may be listening, prior to us hitting the record button, Justin and I were explaining to you why it is that we started Relationship because, as we talked about, there's so much access to information out there and everything, seems to be discussed in the terms of, well, now that we made it, we want to share with the world, these are the tips for success, but nobody ever wants to talk about the failures. Nobody ever wants to talk about the trials and tribulations of how they got somewhere. And now you, to be frank, you're the first guest that we've had that, and I think that this is actually a really great thing. A couple that we had that tried to be partners in business as well, and that failed. And that's such an important thing for me to really dive in deep and discuss with you guys, because you're really serving the masses out there to maybe look out for some of the pitfalls and what to avoid so that it isn't a couplepreneur gone wrong.
And warning signs.
And warning signs
of
because,
like, this is not working.
Because really at the end of the day, you're either, everybody has conflict. I think that's a fair statement to say. Everybody has conflict. And if people say that they don't have conflict, whether in business or in their personal lives, they're full of shit. And ultimately, there are couples that have personalities that will complement each other in both arenas. And in your situation, it sounds like you guys were better staying in your own lanes in every aspect of life. So let's establish. Okay, so let's start right now. So when was it that you?
Doctor.
Call me Dr. Candise. I got no MD or DO or whatever behind my name.
Go for it.
But I'm gonna go there. When did you guys? So take us back to like what time frame are we talking about that you two said, you know what? Let's put both of our skills that might complement each other in this business model that we want to embark on. When was this?
So this was probably 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years.
Yeah, where
Georgia.
Yeah. I started looking into flipping houses, and I started talking to people who had access to money, and we started investing in houses. And obviously the natural tendency was, hey, Evelyn, could you help me out? Can you do this?
I asked you to do it.
You see, yeah.
I asked him because I'm an interior decorator, so I'm really good picking finishes and things like that. So that's what I asked him. Hey, maybe we can do this together. So, but for me, it wasn't a failure. It's just an experience that we had. Arguing all the time and having conflicts.
So one of the things that was difficult for us is, again,
lack of experience, first of all.
Yeah, lack of experience at the beginning. But then the other was Evelyn has a different take on what a house should look like. In my perspective is, look, we're not going to be living in this house. We're selling this house.
Yeah, that's what.
We're going to put good materials, but this is not a place where we're going to be living, right?
Right.
But she loves like the expensive stuff. And she does. So when we would go to Home Depot or look at the tile, for example, she'd be like, oh, no, this one's perfect. It's not perfect because it doesn't fit our budget. And then we would go back and forth. Or the other issue we had is, for example, when managing money, it's like, hey, because in flipping houses, you do some work and then request money from the lender,
right?
So that you get the money back and then keep moving.
Right.
Now, sometimes that process is delayed. And Evelyn's telling me, hey, look, we have the guys waiting, or I want to buy this so that we can continue. And I'm like, look, I'm still waiting for the money. And that would create a fight or a discussion because I'm dealing with getting the money and she's dealing with the people telling them, hey, we need more money to keep the house going.
So it sounds like you guys were crossing into each other's lanes. You guys didn't establish or draw your systems in place and who's going to be kind of spearheading it. But here's the thing. I will say this, though, Eric. When I hear you describe, Evelyn, it sounds like, when Justin and we built our house and, the joke was, after 2.5 or 3 years of building it, every one of our friends and people that we knew were like, wow, you guys are still together. That says a lot about your marriage that you could build a house. But here's the thing. I think that when you have, a creative mind and you love aesthetic, it's a matter of pride, right? So you can't turn pride off. And you can't turn your aesthetic or your creative, side off. So when you're going out shopping for finishes, you're just looking at beauty. You can't turn off and on a switch that says, okay, I'm going to look at the bottom line number first. And then you're just visually looking at something that is aesthetically pleasing, and they're working from that point, and it's kind of difficult to
and for Eric, this is not important for him, but for me, yes, because I thought we are going to sell this house, so it has to look beautiful, and the quality, the materials, they have to be nice and things like that. But for Eric was like, okay, it doesn't matter. Just we need to finish the house.
Well, it does matter.
No. Matter.
Such a shit stirrer, aren't I?
Yeah, thank you. Because of you, we're gonna have a fight
I'm
tonight.
so sorry.
Yeah. Let's end this now.
I'm a detail-oriented person, so I'm so picky with that. So when I look the houses and they didn't look great, I was just criticized and say, "Hey, this is not great. This is not gonna look great," or things like that. So Eric said, "No, it's okay. That's fine." It does, it matters for him, but okay, I'm not saying that you are not.
Yeah.
He's thinking with a different part of his brain. That's all that it is.
He's
Yeah.
really good with numbers and not really good with design and good. I have an eye of beauty. I know that because it's a gift. It's I'm not bragging myself, but it's a gift. I know that I have a gift, and he has other gifts.
Yeah. Now,
so we are kind of
different.
So
granted that at this time we were also living in Denver and we had extra financial stress in our lives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
So that created
other stresses.
Created another stress because I was depending on the houses being sold for us to get a little bit better ahead or more ahead. And then for her, the delay wasn't as important as being as nice as possible. So that added to the stress because at the end, and I think it happens to every entrepreneur, your work supports your household. So if your work is not producing how you want it to produce, then it creates additional tension that mounts up.
Of course. And well said. I mean, it's a reality that exists with everyone.
Yeah.
And
I think what you said at the beginning is so true, that everybody speaks from a position of we already made it and this is what we did. But the reality is that look, Evelyn is a great designer. And what we've learned right now is I'm going to support her technically with her designer job or interior decorating job, help her with, the PowerPoints that she builds, just the technical software where I'm just helping her out. And then she can help me out with advice on certain things that I'm doing, but not working together. I think that's.
He doesn't ask me for advice.
Well, let me ask you a question because I'm sure the people that are going to be listening to this, anytime I find like a moment or a space that somebody might be going, okay, take this a little step further. I always want to do that. So what types of things did you guys, if anything, try to deal with that resolution, to resolve the conflict you guys
before you guys decided before you parted ways business wise, what things did you try to make it work?
Yeah, so we had one opportunity where we did a house with a company that gave us guidelines that we had to keep, like what had to be fixed, and a guidebook of the materials that we could use.
It was easy.
And I think that it helped us because then we didn't have to discuss. They gave us 3 types of tiles that we could find, and then call Home Depot and say, hey, which one's available? Oh, okay, this one's available. So that helped us out in improving the relationship because we already had a set of guidelines saying, hey, these are the things you need to fix and these are the materials that you should use. So granted that there were, things we changed eventually, but that made the process a lot easier.
Well, but the problem, I think, the problem was that lack of experience, first of all, I already said that. And that's GC. These people, if they know when you know about the business, when they don't know, when they know, they used to take advantage of you, that's why I was telling Eric, hey, I think they are taking advantage of you. And he didn't pay attention to me. That's what we were arguing all the time and discussing and because it was I knew it. I knew that they were taking advantage of us because we didn't have a experience.
Yeah.
So,
Can I add something?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So the general contractors, the problem is I'm a nice guy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say this, I try to deal with employees in a nice way.
Yeah.
So Evelyn sometimes wanted me to be stronger with these guys and say, hey, you got to finish this by tonight, or we're not paying you, whatever. The problem is in this industry, these guys can just leave the job and just leave everything without finishing.
Yeah.
So balancing the expectation that she had of me manning up and just slamming these guys, where I would see, let me explain.
Slamming, no,
I know, but what I'm saying is being harder on them than what I was created a frustration in me, because I thought the way to manage them was softer, because I didn't want them to quit. Where
you were approaching it with, you get more bees with honey. We're trying to just get this done. And we got to work with each other as much as we may not like them or respect them. We got to get this done. And Evelyn's coming from and this is what I see time and time again. And I hate to make this a sexist thing, but it's man versus woman, different styles, different ways. What the women is always about right versus wrong. The men are always about, let's just get from point A to point B.
However gray it may be.
So the men seem to be able to see the gray areas a lot better than the woman can. And you are right. Listen, we built a house, and one of the things that we didn't respect necessarily was, when you're designing a house, you're always focusing on the front elevation and the back elevation as far as how things look. And, when you don't know the business and you don't know the industry very well, we didn't realize we should have been focusing on the side elevations, because our contractor put like 300 windows in your side elevation. And I'm like, paying you, because the windows are a big price tag.
We're in Florida, so they're impact hurricane windows. So,
So when we went through the shell, when the shell was up, we're like, why are there so many slots for windows on the side elevation? Like, this is going to be insane. So we literally had to cover up like 10 to 20 windows. And then the contractor was already like, oh, I already had the windows pre-made already. So you can't return, whatever. And I'm like, there's no way that they already made the windows this early but how am I going to prove it? What am I going to march? What am I going to march down to the manufacturer? And, so yes, in all fairness to Evelyn, I do get what she's saying, and that but I also get that Eric is trying to just get from point A to point B with the least amount of stress possible, with the least amount of confrontation and conflict. But I get you both, because
but listen, it's construction. You could yell at someone about a little aspect of your project every single day to the point it drives you nuts, but you're not going to get anywhere. And you don't want, and you're right, you don't want them if you don't have a lot of people to choose from, number one, that are reputable, you don't want them walking off the job either. And some of the people that you even think are reputable are still taking advantage of you a little bit, because you don't know the business, but they're not as bad as what it could be. So
Eric's coming from this is the less of all evils.
Yeah.
So let's just deal with like the less of all evils, and let's just like deal with it and move. So now that you're listening to this dialogue, if you hear the differences, which is what every couple goes through, whether in life or business or both, do you think that there could have been something, or you think that there could still be an opportunity for you to revisit this now that you've already identified and you're having a conversation with two complete strangers that are now telling you this is actually normal? This is actually something that these are the growing pains. What do you think of it differently now? Is there something that you...
Yeah, in my case, no. I really believe that this is something where we're better not working together. Because again, look, one of the things that was,
so.
huh?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, you'll give your opinion. The thing is, like, after 5, after 6, I don't want to hear anything about the business. Okay. But because I've been busy all day on the phone, checking this, going about this, checking something else, I don't want to talk about the business. That's what he wants to talk about the business. So me not talking about the business creates obviously in her a concept that I'm trying to ignore her, or that I'm not being sensitive to her wanting to talk about the business. Right? Where it's nothing personal. It's simply, hey, look, I need to shut off. I need to read. I need to watch TV. I need to go for a run, whatever it is. I don't want to talk about the business. And Saturday and Sunday, I'm disconnected 100%. For her, it's like, this is the time when we need to talk and when we need to drill down and what's going on.
Communication creates conflict, That's why Eric didn't notice that, okay, the contractors, the realtors, they were texting me, calling me, hey, Evelyn, we need to buy the floor, we need to buy this, we need to put the windows on up, and we need to do this and that. And I couldn't do it by myself, I was trying to ask him, and he said, hey, no, I don't want to talk about that. I'm just this is not time to talk, and I was just trying to talk about the
business,
the business.
If you're anything like me, you're like a task-oriented person, and it probably makes Evelyn feel good to check the box of, okay, I got this resolved, I got this taken care of, I got this. Because as women, we worry so much about so many different things that you just want to you want to just get your tasks out of the way, because
we are multitasking. And the other problem was that we started the business just when we moved from
Atlanta to Denver.
So I told him, hey, this is not going to work. We are not going to make it. So we need to live, in Georgia. If we move to Denver, it's going to be so difficult to control everything, over the phone. Is so hard because we are not there. We cannot see the details. We cannot see if this is good quality or if they are doing a great job.
So you were in Denver building houses.
Yeah, we were flipping remotely.
That's why.
Wow.
Got
it. Now we understand why. It was a very, very hard for us, and even for the GCs and for the realtors and for everybody involved in the business, because we, far away from, from the projects, and so hard to control. And I'm not a control freak person, but I think that this kind of business, you need to be there, and just talk with the contractors and go shopping in the same city and things like that. But far away from from there, it was hard. Yeah, that's why we were arguing all the time, because they're saying, no. This guy, he asked me for $3,000 today, but why? Why? He doesn't need the money now. Yeah, he's asking me for the money. So how do you know that he's going to use the money
right
the right way, or he's going to buy? How you're going to control this? So, and that's why it was, I think.
But getting back to her question, do you think that we can?
I'm sorry.
That
I'm
we
just
could.
A little bit.
You're letting her vent.
Occupational hazard.
Yeah. So, do you think we could work together again on something similar?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we are ready now.
Okay.
Because we have learned a lot about our failures or mistakes.
No quotes. Our failures.
Yeah, we're failure. Yeah. And but at the same time, I think we are ready now. We can, we now know how to do it, but we need to just be more. Maybe I need more. What can I say this? You need to be more
communicative.
communicative with me. So,
well, let me ask you guys a question. How long have you guys, like, I have two questions. What was the straw that broke the camel's back in making it final for you two that you guys were going to part ways business wise? And my second question is, how long has it been as we sit here today since you guys parted in your business venture together? So like, what was the straw that broke the camel's back? And as we sit here today, how long have you guys not been doing the business together?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pinpoint to a specific straw, to a specific moment. It was just a time when, she would say, hey, you know what, we can't do this, but the last house we did was probably about 6 months ago, 6 to 8 months ago. So I'm still selling a couple of the houses. So, but the thing is that there were also other elements in our relationship. So she gave up. And that was one of the hard things for us, is that whenever, like, I'm a problem solver, and whenever we would hit a wall, Evelyn would say, hey, you know what? I can't help you anymore. You're on your own, and that would create a stress for me, because how would I rely on something with her that she would eventually say, hey, I'm facing an issue. I can't solve it. We had one issue. I think one of the big issues was an issue with a permit that we were calling the city, and she had to deal with somebody that eventually was a very problematic person. And then I got on the phone with that person. I started solving the problem. And then once I thought the problem was solved, I was like, okay, Evelyn, you deal with it. She's like, why would I deal with it now? Because you've been solving the problem, right?
Right.
Anyway, that's
I do.
Well, but this was really helpful, hopefully therapeutic for you. It certainly was for us to just be able to relate on so many levels with somebody
We'll
else.
let you know in an email if we're fighting tomorrow.
Well, I hope not. I hope I wasn't that big of a shit stir.
No,
but but it really, sometimes I find that it is helpful to talk through these things. And just because your first go around at it, was something that didn't end in the sense that, like, you guys didn't continue that path, but maybe that's just the world saying something to you that maybe you guys needed to perfect or learn or educate and experience your skill sets in the craft that you both are good at. Learn the business a little bit better, learn the business model a little bit better, learn the lessons that you learned through the failures or the fights or the conflicts or whatever, to then be able to go, all right, now we're ready to come back together on this, because we've already gone through.
Listen, we've had guests on the show that have had failed businesses, and they, didn't work until the second or third go around. And, this is maybe, it's been 6 months. It's maybe time for a take two, and
I think, and I think we are, Justin, I think we are in a different position. We moved from Denver. We're not living in Spain.
Cool.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So we live really close to the beach. The beach. It might sound bad, but the accent. But what I'm saying to you is some of my financial stress has been solved. So again, I think on a different situation we could work together. I'm open to that. Obviously, I think real estate is going to be a part of our lives, because we gain a lot of knowledge, a lot of understanding. We see different opportunities for us in the future. But again, once these things have been solved, these financial stresses that were causing us to fight even beyond the business, I think it's something that we can definitely consider. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I don't know if he wants to work with me. He
did. Neither of you two were definitive in your, in your responses. Both of you were open to it. So that's a major positive.
I think like what Justin
had a breakthrough today.
We did.
Yes.
Had a breakthrough.
If we outline certain things, and again, we do things in a different way, and with different people that we can trust, that has a lot to do with the day-to-day. Because I mean, some of the people we were working with were really good, but then they disappeared. One guy was sent to jail. I mean, it was just like a bunch of different things that added up. And then the other thing, we had one particular situation with some houses that we had a partner who had, put up a lot of the money, and whatever Evelyn would say, he would come in and say, no, I don't like this color. Let's move this here. Let's move that. So he had some power over the house because he had financially backed the deal. Right. And then that would cause me stress because I'm dealing with him and then having to tell Evelyn, hey, these changes are going to be made because the investor is saying these changes will be made.
And that's tough. That's tough to navigate within any business. That's really tough to navigate.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, our time is up, but I have to tell you, this was as I told you in the beginning, this is the first time that we've, had the privilege of actually hearing the other side of it. And then to kind of end on such a positive note, to see what the possibilities are for you guys in the future is awesome. It's I'm very, very hopeful for you guys. And hopefully this, and I appreciate your candidness. I really do, because that's what we really want from our guests. And every guest, I shouldn't say every, a lot of our guests,
90% of them
are still, they're so worried about if I'm going to say the right things or whatever, rather than really just be so raw with what they experience. So I want to thank you for that so much. But hopefully this kind of reignited or inspired you guys in what the future might hold for you guys as far as business together again. So I'm hopeful for you guys and optimistic, and hopefully you guys can rock and roll with this. And, I wish you all the luck.
She has a client here that she's going to kill it because she's really great designer, and I'm going to support her. And if doors open, we're open to doing more things
business, I love to do that. So I was very excited when we started, and I was just got disappointed because of all the problems that we got, and so but very disappointed and very overwhelmed. So, but I think we are ready now. We can start something. Maybe in the future, maybe not yet, because we are settled down. We're trying to settle down now, but maybe in the future, I'm ready for that. I really love the business. The industry is nice, Once you get the knowledge,
right,
you can do that again. You can. You are ready for that. So.
Well, thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
All right, it was a pleasure having you guys.
And we wish you all the luck and successes and best wishes for you in your future.
That's a wrap for this week's episode. Don't miss next week's episode for more relatable, real, and practical insights from Relationship, packed with even more candid conversations. So make sure to subscribe, tune in, and keep your wine glass full. And if you want to share your own experience or ask a question, follow us on social media and feel free to reach out. Go to CernitzLaw.com, call 888-68-DAMAGE, or email us at cshanbron@CernitzLaw.com or jcernitz@CernitzLaw.com.